so far she's been doing what I've been telling her to do. You know, and if you guys are wondering if I have done dirty things to her, no. All right, I'm not that kind of guy. You know, I just
Kaylee Sawyer was born on March 2nd, 1993 at St. Charles Medical Center and grew up in Bend, Central Oregon. Her parents were Jamie and Julie Sawyer, who separated when she was younger and both remarried. Jamie remarried to a woman named Crystal, and Julie remarried to a man named Chris Van Cleve. Kaylee had 4 brothers, Zach, Cody, Jaden, and Caleb, and she was the oldest and the only girl. Her hobbies included photography, drawing, poetry, and snowboarding. She was also a dental assistant at Aubrey Dentist, was a dental student at Oregon Central Community College, and had aspirations of being a dentist. She was dating a guy named Cameron Reinhofer, who her parents say was a great guy, that they had a great relationship, and that they were living together. In the summer of 2016, one of her coworkers was having a bachelorette party. So on Saturday, July 24th, 2016, Kaylee went out to meet up with her coworker. They had a great night, and as the night went on, Kaylee started dancing with another guy. It was an innocent, intoxicated dance. But one of Cameron's friends was at the bar at the time, and he would call up Cameron and let him know that Kaylee was dancing with the guy at the bar. At around midnight, Kaylee texts Cameron and asks him to pick her up. So he goes down to the bar to get her, and they get into a fight and fight all the way home from the bar because Cameron is obviously mad and upset that he gets this phone call from his friend that Kaylee was dancing with another guy. So once they get home, Cameron would say that she just wanted to take a walk to go and cool off because she was known to do that. She starts walking on College Way towards the campus. At 12:30, Cameron sends Kaylee a text, and their text exchange goes like this. Cameron says, "Where are you? Please come home and talk to me. You're being unfair." To which Kaylee responds, "Are you kidding? What a joke. I'm so sorry I'm not good enough for you. I don't get how you could say that. If you wanted me, you could have, but you don't care. If you cared even a little bit, you'd know where I am. Sorry, I'm not as important as your phone. Kaylee, please come home and be with me. I don't want to play this game. I'll start searching, but please help me out. My phone's about to die. Please don't do this to me. I apologize for being upset when I picked you up. I just drove up and down College Way, really slow. I didn't see you, and I don't know where else to go. Just come back. Are you kidding? Because that's bullshit. Goodbye. Phone off. Kaylee, please." And sadly, that was the last text message that Cameron would ever get from the love of his life. After this, Cameron got back in his car to search for her again. The exact path Kaylee took after she left the car is unknown. All that is known is that she started walking towards the campus. Cameron would eventually go back home and go to sleep. The next morning when Cameron woke up and she wasn't there, he tried to locate her again. When that didn't work, he called Kaylee's mom and dad. So a huge red flag goes up at this point because her phone is still dead. And normally that would be the first thing that anyone would do when they got to their destination would be to charge their cell phone, especially a college kid. So at this point, Cameron decides to call 911.
Dispatch, how can I help you? Hello?
Hi. I'm not sure if this is quite the right number to call. Last night I got home from the bars with my girlfriend. She got upset at me and ran off. And I chased her and wasn't able to find her, and I still haven't heard from her. Her phone's off. I called all her family and they haven't heard from her, so I'm wondering what you recommend I do.
Where was she last seen at?
College Way. Alpine Meadows apartment complex. It's like at the top of College Way. In the parking lot.
You guys don't live there?
Yes, we live there together. She was mad at me, so I walked inside and told her to come meet me, and then when she's like, calm down. And then I went back out in 10 minutes, and she was gone. And I called her a few times, said she was walking down the street, and then I guess she said her phone was about to die. I couldn't get a hold of her after that. I haven't heard from her since.
She took off on foot?
Yes. She has a vehicle. It's parked at her friend's house, and I've been over there and talked to her friend, and she hasn't heard from her either.
And the vehicle's still there?
Yep.
Any idea where she would go, or?
I don't know. I figured she'd go where her car was, to her best friend's or her mom's. I've been over to both, talked to her dad, and I just haven't heard anything from anybody knowing this.
Like a job that she needs to be out that she missed or anything?
Not today. She has work tomorrow at Aubrey Dental.
Next, Kaylee's mom calls the police, fearing that they wouldn't take it seriously. She stresses to them that Kaylee suffers from epilepsy.
Yes, I need to have an officer call me. My daughter is missing, and she is over 23, but she has epilepsy and some medical issues.
What's the address that she's missing from?
After this, police interview and rule out Cameron fairly quickly. Next, they locate the guy at the bar, and again, they're able to rule him out. So at this point, the police are left with nothing, and they decide to assume that she went off the grid for a little, and that come Monday morning, she would show up at her job because Kaylee was not the type of person to not show up to work. But when Monday comes and she does a no-show, no-call, red flags go up again. July 25th, 2016, Lara goes into the police department. Isabel was a police recruiter, so officers recognized her. She tells police that her husband, Edwin Lara, who was a security guard, came to her and told her that he had killed a girl on Saturday night, freaked out, got rid of her body, and doesn't know what to do. He then packs up all his stuff and leaves the house. Police quickly connect the dots that this must be Kaylee. Kaylee must be the girl whose body Edwin Lara dumped. So the following morning, police sit down with Isabel again to get her full story and to piece together a timeline of sorts. So after their interview with Isabel, police gather. Edwin came home after his shift really late. On Sunday morning, they woke up and they went to church. Afterwards, they went to the movies. Then they went home and went back to bed. Monday morning, Edwin woke up very late. He came out of the bedroom and he was crying. He tells his wife that he lightly hit Kaylee with his security car. He panicked, hid her body, and put her belongings in their shed. He then grabbed her gun out of her purse and took off. So after this, police obtain a search warrant for their home. While searching the shed, police stumble across a garbage bag, and inside are all of Kaylee's belongings. The green purse she was wearing that night is covered in blood. Her passport, her driver's license, a clump of blonde hair stained with blood, and a boulder that is drenched in blood and had to be the murder weapon. They also find a presentation that Edwin made in one of his psychology classes that was on the railroad killer, who was a man named Angel, who was a drifter and was accused of killing at least 15 people in the late 90s. So at this point, police officially changed the case from a missing persons case to a homicide case, and they go to notify Kaylee's parents at their respective homes. So now police amp up the investigation, fearing that Edwin would be out looking for his next victim. And as frightening as that sounds, what's even worse is that they would be correct in their fears and assumptions. When police spoke to Isabel again, she told them that Edwin had quit drinking and didn't have any anger issues, but that he had an affair with a girl from California, where he also has a lot of family, and that he was originally from the LA area. Next, police talked to Isabel again to try and get a clearer picture of what Edwin's route would look like while he was working, thinking that Kaylee's body must be by the campus. They asked Isabel if Edwin worked alone or with a partner, to which she confirmed that he worked alone. Police then find out there was a parking lot called the B12 parking lot that never had anyone in it. You had to travel up dirt roads to get to it, and Edwin would go up there quite often. Monday, July 25th. While police are at the beginning stages of figuring out where Edwin and Kaylee might be, 19-year-old Andreah Maes was just leaving a 12-hour shift at her retail job, Ross, in Salem, Oregon. She sits in her car exhausted and decides to take a Snapchat photo and catch up on social media. Suddenly, a man's arm shot through the window into her car, unlocked her door, and got into her passenger seat. Not surprisingly, it's Edwin Lara, and he has a gun, a backpack, and he's wearing a bulletproof vest. Side note, guys, please keep your doors locked, keep your windows rolled up, especially at night and especially when you're alone. It is said that Edwin had been sitting in the parking lot for quite some time waiting and looking for a victim, so please keep that in mind and please just be careful. So Edwin gets into her passenger seat and has a gun pointed at her. Andreah says that she thought it was a joke at first and even started laughing, probably refusing to believe that it was real. That is until he put the gun to her thigh and said, "This is not a joke, I will shoot you, take me to California." So Andreah, scared to death and having no idea what's going to happen, begins driving. While driving, Edwin starts trying to make small talk with Andreah, but Andreah stood her ground and told him, "I don't want to answer your question," and would just shut him down, saying to him, "If you're going to do anything to me regardless, I can't stop it, but I'm not going to give you any information to the people I care about so that you could potentially harm them too." Edwin then started telling her about his life and about his wife and about being a cop, but he didn't divulge the fact that he was a campus security officer. Then, as if speaking casually, he was talking to her about murdering Kaylee. He was showing her pictures of him and his wife, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a cop. I don't know if you heard what happened to the girl I just killed." Trying to show her the article, and meanwhile, Kaylee had no idea what he was talking about, just thinking that this guy must be on something.
Realize the fight, flight, or freeze mode when you're in a situation like that. I completely froze, and I remember everything, every part of me was on fire, numb.
Yeah. Did you think he was going to kill you?
I did. I don't think in the moment I felt like he was going to kill me, because I had been cooperating and doing what he had asked, to drive or sit here or do that.
Because you felt like maybe he would
if he
keep you alive or take care of you if you complied?
As long as I do what he asks and I'm not getting all crazy, just keeping my cool with things, maybe he'll just, and in a way I kind of feel like he did.
But knowing that her life was in danger, she just tried to keep calm. A few hours into their drive, Edwin decided that they should pull over at a motel in Southern Oregon. And there's actually surveillance footage of this, but Andreah would say that Edwin made her pretend to be his girlfriend and hold his hand, and she would describe it as the most awful feeling, being forced to act like something when you know what's going on. She said, "I always wondered how the motel clerk didn't notice any signs. I'm this young-looking girl with an older guy, and I look completely tore up, no makeup, and I had been crying." Edwin warned her not to ask for help and not to even make eye contact, or he would kill her or the clerk. Without any issues, the clerk handed them their room keys. Once inside, Edwin handcuffed Andreah to the bathroom door. He used a t-shirt and wrapped it around his head while he showered. He then told her to shower, but she refused. She told him, "I didn't bring clothes. What did you expect me to change into? I didn't expect to be kidnapped." He would never say anything back to her, and she would just keep thinking, wow, I was really gutsy to say things like that, knowing he had a gun. Edwin uncuffed her, then recuffed her to the bed frame. He came prepared with sleeping pills. He told Andreah that she had to take them, and she refused. He threatened to force her to take them with a syringe he had prepared. So she decided to swallow the pills, but she fought hard not to fall asleep. She says, "I just kept thinking, if I fall asleep, he will try to, knowing how disturbing he is, probably still try to take advantage of me. That was my motivation for trying to stay awake." Edwin would eventually lean over and start licking her earlobe. Then all of a sudden an alarm goes off, and Edwin panics. He asks her who's calling or what is the alarm for. So within seconds, quick thinking Andreah, girl, you go, by the way, tells him, "It's my alarm. I have an STD and I have to take medication every day. I have to control it. It's really harmful to me." She says that he just started asking her a bunch of questions, trying to figure out what it was exactly. To which she says, "I just tried to make it sound as disgusting as possible to deter him, and ultimately it worked." Andreah, good for you, girl. Good for you. If not for Andrea's quick thinking and lies, she said she was certain it was going to take a turn for the worse. A few moments later, Andreah remembers Edwin taking a call. She said he was talking in Spanish. Andreah does speak Spanish, but she can only pick up bits and pieces of it. Plus, she was exhausted. She says that he sounded paranoid, and he kept telling the person on the phone they were sending helicopters and he had to go. And that's when he began grabbing his things and getting Andreah out of the bed. Andreah tried to convince him to let her stay behind, but he refused. He was just like, "No, you need to come with me." Basically, still trying to use me as a human shield. He kept saying if something were to happen, they wouldn't shoot him if I was there. Andrea's car, which Edwin had stolen when he kidnapped her, was leaking oil. They weren't on the road long before Edwin decided they needed another car and they were going to have to steal it. Andreah says they drove through a parking lot and there was one room open and some guy was loading or unloading his car, and Edwin was like, "We're going to take that car." And Andreah says, "What? Can I just keep my car and you can go?" To which he replies, "No, you need to come with me." Edwin parks the car, takes his gun, and forces Andreah to walk with him. The unsuspecting stranger, a man named Jack Levy, was loading photography gear from his car to his room. As he's loading his gear, he sees two figures dressed in black step into his room. Edwin says, "Don't make any loud noises, don't yell or anything. I just need your car keys, we just need to get out of here." Jack says, quote, The next thing I recall is Lara flashing his gun, and I yelled for help, and he said, I'll shoot you. And I yelled for help again, and he shot me. End quote. Jack falls to the ground after Edwin shoots him in the stomach. Andreah says, quote, I never heard a gun go off like that next to me before. It was like the worst feeling ever. I didn't know if I had gotten shot or something because I could feel it in my body, like the vibration of everything. So I was just like, what just happened? And I didn't see anything happen. I didn't see the gentleman or him falling. It was just so weird. Everything happened too fast. End quote. At that point, Edwin grabs Andreah and runs from the motel toward the gas station next door, leaving her car behind. Once they get to the gas station, Edwin decides that he's going to steal a different car with 3 people inside of it. 17-year-old Nima, his grandmother, and his younger brother. Nima's entire family was driving back to LA after a trip to Canada when Edwin approached the car. His grandpa and dad were in the bathroom at the time. Nima would say, quote, my dad needed to get gas and also he wanted me to drive because he was very tired and I'm the only other person in the car that could drive. End quote. When Nima saw Edwin and Andreah approaching, he thought that they were just going to maybe rob him. He says, quote, I didn't pay attention too much, so I just went back on the phone and then turned around again, and 3 seconds later, he threw the girl into our car, slammed the door shut, and screamed, just get in. He pointed a gun in my head saying drive or I'll shoot. End quote. So Nima starts driving, all while he can hear his poor grandmother screaming in the back seat. Edwin's getting very paranoid at this point, and he tells Grandma to shut the F up or I'll shoot. While he's driving, Edwin grabbed Nima's phone and scrolled through the call log to see if he had called 911. To which Nima says, quote, I was ready to just jump out of the car. I'd rather, jump out and die rather than get shot. Then he proceeded to ask us if we had ever had an urge to kill. He's like, do you guys have an urge? Have you guys ever had an urge to kill? End quote. Edwin goes on to say, I used to be a good guy. I used to be a cop, but then I just got this urge to kill. So I ran this girl over. I didn't believe him. Oh, Nima would say, I didn't believe him though. Edwin told Nima a story about how he ran this girl over, then he kidnapped the girl behind us, and he drove 10 hours from Bend, Oregon to where we were. Then he shot an old man because the guy wouldn't give him his car keys. The whole time, Nima and his brother are trying to appeal to Edwin's emotions, begging him to let them and their grandmother out of the car. So after about 15 minutes, Edwin allows them to get out at a rest stop. He looks around, there were no cars coming. He lets Nima stop on the side of the road, and he just takes the car with Andreah and they leave. Andreah says she tried to convince Edwin to let her get out also, saying, quote, I was like, can I stay with them? You have a perfectly working car. You have everything you need. To which she responds, no, they will try to shoot me and kill me if you're not with me. He still needed that human shield. And just like that, Andreah and Edwin were on the road again. Moments after this, Edwin grabs Andreah's phone and begins to record a Facebook video detailing who he was and that he was wanted, saying, likely I am going to get caught. Sorry about that girl in Central Oregon. He panned to show Andreah to confirm she was okay. He made a point to say, if you guys are wondering if I have done dirty things to her, no, I'm not that kind of guy. No, you're definitely not, Edwin. Definitely not. He said of Kaylee, she just kept screaming and I had to silence her forever. When he finished the video, he asked Andreah to post it on her Facebook page and title it Murderer on the Loose. To which Andreah replied, no, I have important people on my Facebook, friends and teachers and relatives. This is embarrassing. I don't want them to see me like that. Edwin threatened to hurt her, so thinking on her feet, she changed the privacy settings so no one could actually see the video, and she posted it.
Hi everybody, I just want to say that I apologize for everything I've done. Most likely I'm going to get caught. And sorry about that girl in Central Oregon. And I also want to let family members, Andreah, that she's fine and she will be fine because so far she's been doing what I've been telling her to do. You know, and if you guys are wondering if I have done dirty things to her, no. All right, I'm not that kind of guy. You know, I used to kill that other girl, you know, and I regret it. I regret killing her. she's kept screaming, and I had to silence her forever. So, like I say, she's still fine. We're driving, and she'll be home pretty soon. I'm sorry to her grandma and her family members, to her boyfriend. I'm sorry for everything that I caused. Okay, and you'll see her pretty soon. Okay, tell the cops that not to shoot us, because if they shoot us, then that's not my fault. Okay, but sorry, everybody. Bye.
Next, Edwin called his wife. They spoke in Spanish to each other. From what Andreah could gather, it sounded like Isabel was trying to tell Edwin to turn himself in. At this point, they're about 30 miles south of Redding, California. Andreah says Edwin could feel that the end was near, so he started speeding over 100 miles per hour. He takes Andrea's phone and he calls 911.
911 emergency reporting.
Yes, hi. This is Edwin, Lara, and I'm the guy on Interstate 5 going at high speed. I know you guys have the chopper on me already.
Yeah.
And, I just want to say I am going to turn myself in.
Okay, where are you at?
Okay, I'm on I-5. I think close to Redding, if I'm right. So, I am wanted for murder in the state of Oregon.
Okay. Edwin,
Yeah.
where are you at right now? Can you stop?
I am going to stop once I hit Redding. Once I'm in Redding, I'm going to stop.
Okay, can you tell me where you are right now?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Let's see. There's a sign right here. 50 miles from Redding.
You're 50 miles from Redding. Can you see a mile mark or anything?
From Corning.
You're 50 miles from Corning.
Yeah, 50 miles from Corning. 50 miles south or north of Corning.
Are you by yourself or?
No, I have someone with me. I kidnapped her in Oregon. She's innocent. Her name is Andreah. What's your last name?
He doesn't know.
I'll let her give her last name so you can call her family, okay?
Okay.
Just give me a second.
What's your name?
Hello?
Yeah, hi. What's your name?
Andreah?
Andrea, what's your last name?
Maes, M-A-E-S.
Okay, are you hurt at all, Andrea?
No.
No? Okay. Do you know where you are? Let me talk to Edwin again.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, Edwin, you're heading southbound on 5?
Yeah, I'm heading southbound on 5. I'm
Did
50
you make
miles
it past?
away.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did you make it past Redding yet?
I think I did. I'm 50 miles from Corning.
You're 50 miles from Corning?
Yeah, 15.
Oh, 15 miles from Corning.
Yes. So I'm passing a state trooper, a highway patrol right now.
You're what, sir?
I'm passing a highway patrol.
Okay, where are you at, though?
I am Flores Avenue, 1 mile from Flores Avenue.
1 mile from Flores. Are you able
Yes.
to safely find somewhere to stop?
I'm not going to stop right here. I'm just going to turn myself in Corning. Okay?
Are you going to Corning Police, or where are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to Corning Police. But I want to ask you a favor.
Uh-huh.
So I have asthma.
You have asthma? Okay.
Yeah, so you tell them not to be too rough on me because, I can barely breathe right now. All right, so that's all I wanted to say.
Do you need
I don't
any
want.
kind of medical, or?
Yeah, well, I think so. I'm gonna need my inhaler. I forgot my inhaler at home. I went all over Salem, Oregon, looking for an inhaler, but I guess they don't sell it, behind the counter or out of counter. So.
Edwin, how fast are you going?
I'm going about 120 miles an hour
You're going
right
about
now.
120 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Can you slow down?
Well, I want to make it there quick. That way I can turn myself in.
Well, the officer sees you with it. We just don't want you to speed away from anything. If you can stop and just give yourself in, it'll probably be easier.
Well, there's an officer behind me right now.
Okay, they see you. We're talking to them. They see you.
Yeah, she's seeing me. I think it's a she. She's right behind me.
Okay. The officer sees you, and are you able to safely stop?
Yeah, I can stop, but not right now. I'll stop in Corning.
What's the difference from stopping now in Corning?
I just don't want to stop right here in the middle of the road, putting myself in danger and putting everybody else in danger, more in danger, I guess.
They won't. They're aware. I'll let them know they won't. But if you can stop safely, they just don't want you to run. They think you're trying to run or anything.
Okay.
Edwin, do you have any weapons with you?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I do have a gun on me. I am not gonna flash the gun, so you tell them not to shoot me.
Okay.
No, I don't want to die.
Okay, you stick by your word, though. I'll let them know.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna let them know. You know, don't hurt Andreah. You know, she's a nice girl. You know, don't hurt her. I'm actually calling my family just to say bye to them. So once I'm done calling all my family, then I'll turn myself in.
Okay, we can get a hold of your family if you want.
I already called my wife. I called a lot of people already. I am wanted for the death of Kaylee Sawyer at Bend, Oregon.
What's the girl's name? Kaylee what?
Sawyer?
Sawyer?
Yes. Or Sawyer, maybe.
And she was from Bend, Oregon?
Yes. I just want to say that it was an accident. So I work for Campus Public Safety there, and she was really drunk, and I didn't see her, and I ran her over.
Okay.
And then after that, you know, I just she was still breathing, and then she was screaming, and I decided to silence her forever.
Okay.
And I am very remorseful for that, and you know.
Okay.
Edwin,
are you able to stop? The officers behind you, they don't know if you're running and stuff or trying to run from them. So if you can safely stop, they'll have the freeway blocked and nobody will get hurt if you just try to stop.
You want me to read the plate for you?
Your plate?
The officer, the police officer's plate?
No. You don't need to read the police officer's plate.
Okay. Because I want her to just get in front of me if she can.
Why do you want her in front of you?
She can move all the traffic. I'm not gonna shoot anybody, I promise.
I know, but you have to realize they have to take care. It's for their safety and for your safety as well. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
All right, so I'm about to get to Corning. I'm like 4 miles away.
Okay. Where are you at now? Can you tell me where you are?
I am 4 miles from Corning.
Okay. The girl that's with you, how old is she? Andrea, how old is she?
How old are you? She's 19.
19 years of age? Okay.
Yeah.
Does she have any weapons or anything? Or?
Nah, she doesn't.
Several minutes later, Edwin pulls over.
Right southbound at Sourgrass.
Running 52 yielding at Sourgrass. Number 2, kind of yielding, 35.
We're kind of yielding 35 miles an hour at Sourgrass.
Running 52 stop, Sourgrass. I'm going to initiate the felony stop here.
Felony stop in progress southbound at Sourgrass.
Get your hands up! Get up! Step out of the vehicle! You got me? Step out of the vehicle! Turn around! Turn around! Keep turning around! Walk back! Step over to your right! Step over to your right! Away from traffic. Drop down to your knees. Don't move.
While police are arresting Edwin, they ask him why he's wearing a bulletproof vest, to which he responds, "I came to throw down." About 30 minutes later, police take him to the Tacoma County Jail, where they book him. Edwin then decides to give a full confession.
What happened, man? What happened? Like the straight up, what happened?
So I was putting the signs up where there was an event going on at
School,
college. Cyclist event or whatever. You know, I was in a hurry because I wanted to get out of here. And I was going to turn south on College Way on the D4 lot. So I was going to turn south on the do not enter area there. And I didn't see her. She was wearing all black. So I was in a hurry, so it was my fault. And I wasn't expecting anybody, you know, at that time of night, so I just turned and I mean, I didn't hit her that hard. I just bumped her with the patrol car, bumped her with the front rack. And she fell down, and at first I thought, you know, first thing I was, oh, I killed her, you know, but I didn't hit her that hard. So I got off the car, and she was really drunk. And then she looks at me, and then she started screaming.
She started screaming,
Yeah.
or you did?
She did. So I panicked and I just grabbed her by the throat and told her, shut up, shut up, shut up. Till she passed out. I put her on the back of the patrol car, drove her up the B12 lot, and then I was panicking, I didn't know what to do. She already seen me, she saw my face. So I opened the door, and that's when she came back. She started screaming again. So I grabbed the chokehold, and I was telling her, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. She was just struggling to scream. So I threw her down and I hit her with a rock on the head. After that, I dragged her body behind a tree there, and I hit her with another rock. And that's when I think she died, because I heard her breathing her last breath. And then left her body there. I went to the exam gym. I tried to wash off everything, all the dirt from my glove. I had a stain on my shirt. I was wearing the bike patrol shirt. I had a red stain. I couldn't take that off, so I started washing my pants and my boots on the Mizama gym. I went into the men's restroom right in front of the main entrance of the south entrance of Mizama. Then after being there, I just walked towards the women's gym or shower, and I went into the shower and I started washing off all the dirt from my pants. And then I looked at the watch and it was like 1:50 or whatever, and my shift was almost over. And I know Adam Nieder was in the office, so I'm like, hey, you know, I'm usually never late. I'm out of here when my shift ends, so I better get there. So I got there like around 2:01 or something like that. I was full of dirt, and he wanted to talk to me about something. And I wasn't facing him because I saw this scratch in my face. And I was scared that he was going to see it, because I knew that you guys were going to investigate us. I knew that for a fact, because I'm not dealing with stupid people, right?
Yeah.
So I panicked, and you know, I just let him talk, and I acted like I was doing something on the computer, and I was just saying, oh yes, yes. And I tried telling him something, but I was so nervous that I don't think he was able to understand me, what I was saying. He goes, what? And I said it again, and he wasn't able to understand me. So at the end, I think he just left it like that. You know, he didn't ask me any more questions. But I don't think he realized anything bad, you know. I just think he probably thought I was tired or something. Because I told him, you know, I'm tired, I want to go home. Then, when I was walking out, I'm like, okay, I need to get rid of her, because if they find her out in the boy 12 lot, they're gonna know it was one of us, and it's gonna be me, because Adam was in the office, you know, all night long, right, doing some paperwork. So I drove back up there. I put her in my car. I grab a trash can first from Boyle Education Center from the custodial room. I grabbed a trash can or a trash bag. I drove up the hill again and just put her head inside the bag. Put her in the trunk of my car and just drove out of there.
Your personal car?
Yeah.
Which car's that?
The Nissan. You guys haven't found that yet?
Yeah, we found it.
Okay.
But it's not fair for me to put words in your mouth, you know? So you gotta ask. So what happened next?
So I drove her to a ditch by close to my parents' house, and she was kind of heavy, you know. So I just grabbed her and pretty much ripped everything off her, like her clothes. I threw her in the ditch, and then I went back home and I was like, okay, they gotta find her there pretty quick. So I gotta move her and put her somewhere else that they're not gonna be able to find her. So next day, actually it was the following night, while my wife was sleeping, I just got up without her noticing that I was, that I left, and I went to move the body again.
To its location that you told us. The first place where you put Kaylee.
I think it's...
Is it near your parents? Like how close to your parents' house?
So the street is
Hemlock?
Hemlock, I think it is.
Helmholtz?
Helmholtz. Yes, Helmholtz and Amber, right in the corner. There is a little, I don't know what that, I think there might be a little creek or a lake or something right there, so pretty close to that. So I just threw her body right there, and then I came back following night and just dumped her. And at this time I was feeling really bad, because I've never killed anybody, and I feel really bad about her, about the girl. Could you think of a certain night? And I was feeling really bad about what I went through, because she's my everything. And I know that most likely I will die in prison, And that's gonna be one of the things that I'm gonna take in my heart. Isabel. And the regret of killing this girl.
Even offering to draw a map, telling police that there is a mailbox on Highway 126 with the numbers 18700 on them. The body is right across the highway from that spot. He says he accidentally hit her with his car. She started screaming, so he choked her, but she wouldn't stop screaming. He then put her in his car and choked her until she died. Now, you don't have to be Inspector Gadget to realize that this story is complete bullshit. So police decide to switch tactics and bring in an officer who's an ex-pastor, since Edwin has a strong religious faith. The officer tells Edwin about how he's going to have to stand before God, and if he wants to repent his sins, he has to own up to them. So Edwin decides to give the real story. He did not hit Kaylee with his car. He saw her walking alone. He approached her wanting sex, and Kaylee refused, and she then started to scream. That's when Edwin grabbed a rock and started bashing her head in. He puts her in his patrol car and ends up raping her after she was dead. He also claimed that he thought Kaylee was a prostitute. Police asked Edwin to write a letter to Kaylee's father, a tactic to attempt to get more information out of him. The letter reads as follows. I've been trying to ask Kaylee for forgiveness, but I don't think her soul hears my crying because God doesn't allow the devil to talk to angels. However, I know Kaylee hears you, and if you find it in your heart, please ask her to forgive me. I know I'll spend the rest of my life asking God to forgive me, but I don't think he'll hear me. I'm not sure what your name is, but I know for a fact you love your daughter. I read somewhere you were desperately searching for your daughter. I failed you. I failed my community. I failed everyone. I'm really sorry. I beg you, a man like me doesn't deserve the job I had, and I'll never have it again. I'm sorry for wearing the badge. May Kaylee Sawyer rest in peace. Inside the car that Edwin ditched when he kidnapped Andreah, police found 2 handwritten notes that read, "The place I killed her is on the B12 lot. Run her over on College Way." This note is to say I'm sorry for taking her life. 18700. To her dad, I'm sorry. 18700. To her mom, I'm sorry. It was an accident. She screamed and I had to silence her. My intention was not forever. To my wife, I'm sorry. I will forever love you. Edwin, Lara. It is unknown what 18700 means, but it is not lost on officers that 187 is the California Penal Code for murder. Police arrive at the location on Edwin's map. It was a foresty location, a small canyon filled with pine trees, rocks, and sagebrush. One officer was running down the road next to the guardrail and came across Kaylee laying on the rocks. He would say, quote, "I thought she was alive and I thought she was attempting to crawl up the face of the rocks, but I checked her pulse and she didn't have any vital signs." End quote. The medical examiner would conclude that Kaylee died from blunt force trauma when Edwin hit her with the rock. He would also go back a second time and hit her again just to make sure she was dead. In California, Edwin was arraigned on charges of attempted murder, kidnapping, and carjacking. He was eventually extradited back to Oregon, where he started preparing with his attorneys for trial. His lawyers would argue that his confession was inadmissible in court because his rights had been violated. When Edwin was first booked into the jail in California, he indicated to jail staff that he wanted to speak to a lawyer. Staff thought he was asking a procedural question and not specifically for an attorney. Under the California Penal Code, new arrivals in jail must be given a chance to make 3 phone calls within 3 hours of being booked. Edwin was in a holding cell for 5 hours and was never allowed to make any calls. Because of this, in Edwin's pretrial hearing, the judge threw out his 6-hour confession and he would not allow it to be used as evidence. This was crushing to detectives, especially because they had made so many promises to the family. Because his confession was thrown out, prosecutors had to go strictly off of the forensic evidence that was collected. Kaylee's family wanted the death penalty, but because of the confession, the DA believed that it would not be safe to go that route. There are huge risks when going for the death penalty. Edwin did, however, plead guilty to all charges, saving the family from having to sit through a trial and relive everything. At his sentencing, Kaylee's friends and family were given a chance to speak.
Today, Kaylee's grandfather addressed the court and his granddaughter's killer.
But he will die in prison, and it will be a lifetime experience for you. He'll probably wish he'd been given the death sentence. Rotten hell, scumbag.
Today, I've never got the closure of seeing or touching my girl one last time.
After which, Edwin's lawyer says that he would like to ask Kaylee's family for forgiveness. But when Edwin stands up, that's not quite what he does.
I've seen your pain. Today, I've seen your hate.
It's when Lara turned to the Lord's Prayer, Kaylee's family could take no more.
Heal the hearts, all those broken hearts of this community. I may Kaylee Sawyer rest in peace. Amen.
After this, the judge hands down his sentence. He pleads guilty to the 1 count of aggravated murder and 1 count of robbery, and receives life in prison with no chance of parole. Edwin's path of destruction didn't just end at the lifetime of pain that Kaylee's family will have to endure. Edwin's wife filed for divorce in August of 2016, just weeks after Kaylee's murder, and shortly after that resigned from her role as a Bend County police officer, ending her very short 13-month career. This was not something she wanted either, but she didn't feel it was appropriate to stay in law enforcement when her husband was this savage murderer. Almost 3 years after Kaylee's death, in April of 2019, Edwin was back in court for the kidnapping of Andreah and giving another life sentence to be served concurrently. The prosecutor actually said that Edwin was one of the most dangerous men to ever walk through that courthouse. In a way to make Kaylee's legacy live on, Kaylee's mother started an organization called KK Readers that donates Dr. Seuss books to Head Start preschoolers all over Central Oregon, including the Places You'll Go. They also advocated for change on a state level with Kaylee's law, and it was approved unanimously by the House and the Senate. The law mandates stricter vetting of private security officers. Campuses are required to perform nationwide background checks. Their uniforms must look different from actual police officers. Vehicles are required to have GPS devices and video systems, and it prohibits them from having a red light or a blue light on top of the car or a cage inside of the car.
I just want everybody to remember her for the wonderful young woman she was becoming.
I feel very fortunate and lucky to have worked with Kaylee every day. She had an undeniable spirit. People talked about her smile, and in a profession when you're caring for people, her smile made everybody feel better.
Had something wonderful to say about everybody. She was also in my wedding a couple months ago. And I remember when I was getting ready to walk down the aisle and my head was down and she held my face up. She said, "You got this, Fiona. I love you." I want you all guys to know that she was an absolutely fantastic human being. And I will miss her so deeply.
She was vivacious, happy. She walked in the door, everything would light up in the room. She was exceptional. And any of those of you that knew her or met her or spent time with her, I think, think of her that way, you know, that what she brought to all of us, what she added to our lives, and she made her time with us very short, but very special.
Okay guys, if you're still here, thank you. I appreciate you so very much. If you would be so kind, leave me a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Subscribe if you haven't yet. It would mean so much to me, especially since I'm so small. And until next time,